Westfield, New Jersey. A tree-lined street, six-figure homes, and one letter that changed everything. 657 Boulevard was supposed to be a dream house, but the ink on a welcome note wasn't dry before it turned into a warning. A stranger called the Watcher claimed the walls whispered secrets, the hallways begged for young blood, and that the family inside would never be alone, not for a single night. Tonight we're digging into the case that froze a whole town, that baffled the FBI, and left one question unanswered. Who keeps watch when even the porch lights feel like eyes?
Welcome to Crime Bite.
In this channel, we peel back the layers of those hidden realities, raw evidence, conflicting testimonies, and emotional pleas for help that too often come too late. By looking into these crime bites, you'll see firsthand how broken trust, systemic oversights, and chilling motives can converge into stories that rattle us to the core. If you find this exploration as vital as we do, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notifications button. Together, we can shine a light on the cases that demand attention, ensuring every voice, especially the silenced, finds the audience it deserves. June 2014. Derek and Maria Broaddus are still giddy from the closing table when they step through the arched doorway of 657 Boulevard, Westfield, New Jersey. The house feels like destiny. 6 bedrooms for 3 kids and enough backyard for a future pool. Derek lingers on the grand staircase, picturing Christmas photos. Maria envisions Thanksgiving pies cooling on the soapstone counters. A contractor's radio hums somewhere upstairs. Life feels expansive. 3 days later, the mailbox offers a welcome. Neither realtor nor neighbors predicted. A thick, cream-colored envelope addressed in block letters to the new owner. Inside, looping handwriting greets them. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades. I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. The writer, signing off as The Watcher, asks if the young blood has moved in yet, praises the house's rich history, and hints at hidden passages within the walls. Derek reads the letter twice, pulse thundering. Did a prankster slip this in? On leafy streets like Westfield's, mischief often involves teepeed trees, not generational surveillance. They call the police. Officer Leonard Lugo inspects the envelope, shrugs. No threat, technically. Keep us posted. But that night, as Derek applies a second coat of primer in the dining room, the windows seem darker, the silence sharper. Share your opinions in the comments section below. If someone claims they've watched your house for generations, do you laugh it off or change every lock before dawn? Renovations churn on, removing decades-old carpet, replacing rattling radiators. The Broaddus kids chase one another through empty hallways, unaware their laughter echoes beyond family ears. 2 weeks pass, and Derek dumps bills onto the marble island. Another white envelope lurks beneath. Same heavy paper, same jagged block letters. Welcome again to your new home at 657 Boulevard. Have you found what is in the walls yet? In time, they will. This time, the Watcher lists their children by birth order and pet names overheard through open windows. He notes contractors smashing the house and asks if the Broadduses need to fill the house with young blood I requested. The writer's fixation chills Maria. She bolts upstairs, yanks closed every curtain. Police canvass neighbors. Derek interviews across picket fences, retirees gardening, teens tossing basketballs. Suspicion ricochets. The Langfords next door have lived here since the 60s. Michael Langford, 40-ish and eccentric, often roams his porch at night. But no fingerprint on the letters, no record of odd purchases at the stationery store. That evening, Derek Googles hidden rooms in heritage homes. Could some crawl space hold forgotten trinkets? The Watcher covets. He taps walls, searching for hollows, each thud amplifying unease. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click notifications button for more. Is the threat in the letter or in the unknown Watcher they can't see but now imagine everywhere? Westfield sells serenity. Tree-lined streets, top-ranked schools, a median home price flirting with 7 figures. Rumors, however, travel faster than real estate listings. Parents murmur at Little League games. Did you hear about that house on the boulevard? Kids dare each other to bike past 657 at dusk. Maria stops sleeping. She camps on Google, unearthing the house's chain of titles. Built in 1905, passed among doctors, lawyers, and opera singer. But no tragedies large enough to fuel Gothic legend. Only one clue surfaces. John and Andrea Woods, the sellers, received a single odd letter mere days before they moved out. Benign enough, they shrugged it off. The Broadduses feel blindsided. A third letter drops, resentful. "Where have you gone to?" 657 Boulevard is crying from all the pain. It details the children's sandbox games, notes that one child walked in the sunroom window, a narrow vantage visible only from specific neighboring lots. Maria now drives the kids 45 minutes to her mother's rather than let them step on the front lawn. Derek installs security cameras on every eave. When a house becomes a threat, is it safer to abandon your dream or confront the nightmare head-on? Derek and Maria have reached their limit with polite police check-ins that circle back to nothing. They bring in retired FBI profiler Robert Leanhan, tall, slow-talking Midwestern. He lays the 3 Watcher envelopes on a card table like tarot cards and recites lines in a voice barely louder than the fridge hum. "New blood, the promised time. I have been put in charge." He taps each archaic phrase, concluding the author is likely a man in his 50s or older, steeped in Westfield gossip and furious that outsiders are gutting what he sees as his legacy. "This isn't teenage mischief," Linehan says. "It's territorial." A low-tech surveillance plan follows. 2 ex-Marines, old college buddies of Derek, volunteer to park an SUV opposite 657 Boulevard every night from 10 to 2. One scribbles plates of cars that idle by the mailbox. The other films with night vision, hoping to catch a silhouette. By day, Maria's sister pushes a borrowed stroller up and down the block, noting which porch lights blink when the Broaddus kids shout one another's names. Even the construction crew joins in, jotting unfamiliar vans and delivery trucks. Next comes DNA. Lenhan snips flecks of envelope glue and rushes them to a private lab. Weeks crawl by. The result, too degraded, no usable cells. Maria feels the floor drop. For the first time, she wonders if science itself might fail them. Meanwhile, Westfield detectives call neighbor Michael Langford back in. His second-floor window overlooks the precise path the Watcher described hearing young blood sing. Langford denies everything. His siblings hire counsel and bristle at being cast as suburban bogeymen. Detectives suggest baiting the writer with a reply sprayed in invisible USPS tracer, but the county prosecutor refuses. No threat of bodily harm means no warrant. Bills don't care. Insurance won't cover menacing correspondence, so the $1.3 million mortgage and ballooning renovation costs inch higher each day. At midnight, Derek leans against raw sheetrock, calculating interest on a house where his family has never slept. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more true crime stories. How far would you go or spend to reclaim a scrap of peace when every sunrise feels like a dare from the dark? By June 2015, exhaustion hardens into litigation. The Broadduses sue John and Andrea Woods, the prior owners who, according to the complaint, hid a Watcher letter delivered days before closing. Had they known, Derek argues, we'd have run. The lawsuit splits Westfield overnight. At a town hall meeting, some neighbors applaud Derek's plea for transparency. Disclosure is non-negotiable. Others whisper that the couple is dragging their zip code onto tabloid front pages. Teens shoot TikToks in front of a handmade Watcher house sign. The Star Ledger sprawls the headline across page 1, and a Today Show crew sets up a satellite dish before dawn. In depositions, the Woodses admit receiving one mildly creepy note. No threats, just mention of decades of watching. Their lawyer argues it never met New Jersey's threshold for material defect, a rule designed for asbestos, not anonymous pen pals. The judge now must read century-old property laws through the lens of modern stalking. Online, amateur sleuths light up. Reddit threads track every deed holder since 1905. Cross-reference wills pore over church directories. One theory claims the Watcher is a bidder who lost the house. Another insists it's a roaming clique of prank-happy teens. Yet no post produces tangible proof. Legal calendars clog with motions. The case drags. Anxiety grows an economic bite. Homeowners fear property values could plunge 6 figures if the Watcher myth persists. As one elderly resident tells reporters, when your town becomes a campfire tale, buyers vanish. Even a courtroom win may feel hollow. Reimbursement for closing costs or modest damages can't cover thousands of sleepless hours, lost childhood summers under CCTV, or the dread that the next envelope might crawl into someone else's mailbox. If a judge bangs the gavel in your favor, does the fear vanish, or does it just return later, stamped with court fees and the weight of mysteries still unsolved. Unable to sell during litigation, the Broaddusses list 657 for rent. August 2017, a family with 2 large dogs signs a 1-year lease. Derek discloses the letters up front. The father jokes, "We'll sick the dogs on him." Weeks pass uneventfully. Westfield breathes easier. Maybe the specter vanished with the Broaddusses' presence. Then a tenant finds a letter in the mailbox. Violent winds and bitter cold to the vile Derek and his wench wife, Maria. You wonder who the watcher is? Turn around, idiots. Maybe you even spoke to me. The note references events only after the Broaddusses moved. Proof the stalker remains local, vigilant. The tenants, shaken but resolute, stay. They install more cameras. Their dogs bark into shadows each night. Police escalate patrols. Still no fingerprints. The Langfords fade as suspects when DNA from the envelope shows partial female markers. Investigators broaden the circle. 40 neighbors agree to give handwriting samples. None match. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click notifications button for more. With evidence pointing nowhere, does courage mean staying put or admitting defeat and fleeing for good? June 2018. Journalist Reeves Wiedemann drops a 7,000-word feature that reads like suburban Gothic. Quotes from the Watcher letters in full, floor plan diagrams, even a family photo of Derek and Maria blurred for privacy. By lunch, the piece rockets through Twitter, Reddit, and every push notification feed that traffics in the uncanny. Within 24 hours, the house that was once hidden behind maple branches becomes Google Earth's most searched address. Camera crews descend in languages the Broaddusses can't decipher. A Japanese morning show host films a live stand-up at the curb, pointing to second-floor windows, while translators recount the young blood threat. German documentarians draw chalk outlines on sidewalks to illustrate sight lines from adjacent porches. The coverage blows back hard at home. Maria, already stretched thin, opens her inbox to bile. Fraud. Grifter. Enjoy your Netflix money. She reads until her hands shake, then powers down only to find new messages stacked an hour later. Blinds stay shut, voicemails stack up unheard. Hollywood smells a bidding war. Within a week, Netflix dangles a miniseries deal. Blumhouse phones to option film rights. Lawyers talk points. Agents trade drafts. Derek and Maria agree to consult, not hungry for fame, but desperate to plug the financial crater of 2 mortgages, legal fees, and endless private security bills. They accept the check, but the decision feels like signing a pact with the very spotlight they fear. Meanwhile, the internet detective hive achieves warp speed. Amateur cartographers overlay satellite maps with vintage tax lots. Ham radio hobbyists scour frequencies for coded chatter that might match the Watcher's archaic diction. A YouTuber with drone access posts a 20-minute breakdown alleging the letters came from a vantage atop a decommissioned water tower a half-mile away, visible through the attic dormer. Another channel cross-references 1920 census data against current property lines, claiming an heir to 657 Boulevard was cut out of a will and might be seeking revenge through ink. Westfield PD, suddenly global, fields dozens of tips a day. License plate snapshots, voicemail rants, handwriting samples mailed in from across the country. Almost all collapse under 5 minutes of scrutiny. Officers comb each, knowing the public frenzy could hide either gold or fool's ore. At school, the Broaddus children, now lanky middle schoolers, face whispered dares. Bet you won't sleep in your haunted house for a night. They learn to dodge questions about secret passages and adopt hushed tones when teachers mention home addresses. Derek, on edge, flinches at every late evening ring. Telemarketer? Journalist? Or worse, the Watcher using a spoofed number? Panic triggers migraines and a nightly ritual of double-checking deadbolts he knows were already latched. When the whole world knows your nightmare, does the floodlight scare the monster away, or give it a bigger stage to perform? By early 2019, the math is merciless. 5 years of carrying costs, lawyers, private investigators, and a second rental home have drained savings that once funded college dreams. Derek and Maria slashed the listing to $999,000, a near $400 haircut on the purchase price, and hundreds of thousands below the neighborhood median. Showings are sparse but candid. Derek meets couples at the door with a dossier. The Watcher letters, the police reports, the timeline. Most back down politely. Finally, a pair in their 30s, child-free, Charmed by Westfield's commuter trains and school ranking for future kids, walk through unflinching. They love the original millwork, see potential in the half-finished attic, appreciate the discount. After a weekend of mulling, they place an offer contingent on standard inspections and a freshly drafted non-disclosure agreement. No public statements, no press interviews, no lawsuits should another letter arrive. Lawyers massage clauses, pens sign in July 2019. Closing day feels anticlimactic. No balloons, just notarized copies and a wire transfer that barely clears the original mortgage. Maria exits the title office numb, clutching a check that covers back payments yet confirms a six-figure loss. They drive straight to their modest rental, where cardboard boxes of unopened 657 keepsakes still crowd the garage. Neighbors exhale relief that evening. Some consider the sale proof the saga was overblown, perhaps even staged. They note that the new owners keep renovations minimal. No dumpster in the drive, no porch walls torn down, only gentle landscaping and fresh paint on shutters. Maybe, gossip suggests, that's why the letters stop. Others whisper the watcher's warnings were always about change. Bang hammers disturb the house and provoke the pen. Leave it be, and silence reigns. Months pass. No 911 calls from the Boulevard about suspicious envelopes. No leaks to local papers. If letters arrive, the new owners honor the NDA, or perhaps nothing ever comes. Town chatter splits. Was the terror aimed solely at the Broaddus family? Or does it sleep until the next bold renovator wakes whatever folklore coils inside old walls? One rainy October night, Derek drives the long way home from work. Curiosity, or a need for closure, pulls him past 657. Street lamps cast golden puddles, fallen leaves cluster at the curb. The windows flicker with soft, ordinary light, TV glow, maybe a late dinner. He feels both gratitude and grief, grateful the nightmare isn't his anymore, grieved by the cost of escaping it. When his own mailbox clangs the next morning, he still hesitates before lifting the lid. Habit, like trauma, lingers. Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If terror fades the moment you walk away, did it ever belong to the house itself? Or only to the story you unwittingly carried with you? October 2022. Ryan Murphy's dramatized The Watcher premieres on Netflix, surging to top 3 worldwide in its first week. Suburban paranoia becomes binge-watch fodder. Fictional liberties spawn fresh theories. The real Broaddus names are changed, but maps appear on fan blogs. Westfield sees weekend tourism spikes. Locals erect private street signs. Town council organizes Q&A sessions to quell rumors. Police Chief Badaloro reminds press there is no active threat. Yet copies of letters on screen prompt amateur linguists to reanalyze syntax. Capitalized blood appears biblical, maybe pointing to church neighbors. The show resurrects investigators' interest. A new detective reviews 2014 call logs, analyzing cell tower dumps never cross-checked. One number pings near 657 each letter night, but belongs to a food delivery driver who proves alibis. Another dead end. If pop culture immortalizes an unsolved case, does it reopen doors to justice or trap victims in perpetual spectacle? Spring 2025. The Broadduses live quietly 2 miles away, their mortgage burden finally lifted by a modest book deal. The children, now teens, reclaim sleepovers, yet Maria still jumps at creaking floors. 657 Boulevard stands painted the same eggshell white, lawn edged neatly, porch mums blooming. Some evenings, porch lights glow warmly, domestic as any Hallmark set. There have been no confirmed watcher letters in 6 years. Was the writer dead, satisfied, or merely hibernating? Westfielders still debate in coffee shops. Michael Langford died in 2023, never charged. DNA labs progressed, but envelopes now rest sealed in evidence freezers, waiting for technology still unborn. Until a name is signed in handcuffs, the tale remains unfinished. Part suburban ghost story, part real-world warning about obsession and the thin walls of privacy. Will the watcher forever remain a phantom of ink and paranoia? Or could a single, overlooked detail still crack the case wide open? The Broaddus family never learned who signed those letters, and to this day no one's been charged. Was it a jealous neighbor, a cruel prank, or something far stranger woven into Westfield's history? Let me know your theory in the comments, because crowdsourced insight has cracked more than one cold case. If this story kept you watching, click like, so YouTube knows true crime deserves the spotlight. Subscribe and ring that bell for the next investigation. where we follow an unsolved disappearance that begins with a single footprint in fresh snow. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and keep shining a light where others fear to look.